It's starting to feel pretty cold for May, but by the time we reach the next bank holiday weekend, well, it could be much warmer. There are signs of things finally changing, but it's not going to happen very quickly because at the moment we've got pretty cold air with us thanks to these northerly winds that have been with us for quite a while now. Now, we're sticking with the northerly winds through the rest of this week, cold northerly winds pushing in through the weekend as well, but then by the start of next week, the signs of change begin to show as we move into southwesterly winds. Atlantic air starts to move in. Now, it will likely be quite wet to start next week for some areas, but by the end of next week, well, that's when there's signs of high pressure and drier weather to come. More on that in a bit. For now, we'll stick with those northerly winds for the rest of this week and into the weekend. And we'll start to see this area of low pressure develop down at the North Sea, bringing cold winds to easterly areas in particular through the next few days. And Thursday's going to be another very showery day. Some of these showers could be quite slow moving. They bring a risk of thunder as well as hail, quite wintry in nature, to be honest with you. And with those northerly winds, it's going to feel much colder than these temperatures suggest, which are both below average. And into the evening, we'll expect those showers to fade away a little bit. We've got high pressure moving in, a ridge of high pressure just for a time. So it turns a little bit drier, particularly across western areas into Friday morning. So we are expecting a touch of frost across more northwestern areas. Across the east, this cloud lingers. So it's going to be cold, but likely not particularly frosty. And that's thanks to this area of low pressure out in the North Sea that will linger through Friday, bringing many eastern areas a bit of a windier and cooler picture. Meanwhile, in the west, we've got that ridge of high pressure pushing in, so Friday does look like a drier day after those frequent showers through Wednesday and Thursday. There's still a few showers, as you can see here and there, but nowhere near as many, and they will be nowhere near as heavy either. So more in the way of sunshine to come, particularly across western areas on Friday. Still some brighter weather across the east coast, but I think the wind's going to make it feel quite chilly here still. And across the southeast, where we're closer to that rain from that low pressure, well, it could be quite damp into the afternoon as well. And then we begin the weekend, and that ridge of high pressure sticks with us into the start of the weekend. It's likely to be a pretty cold start to the day on Saturday, but a bright one and a calmer one as well. The winds look much lighter through Saturday. It's definitely going to be the drier day of the weekend on Saturday because this front in the west moves in for Sunday. Now, these are the temperatures, maximum temperatures of around 15 or 16 degrees in the southeast, still a little bit below average, but with lighter winds and a little bit more sunshine, I think it's not going to feel too bad. And ahead of this front, though, we could start to see a few showers developing across more southern areas into the late afternoon. They don't look particularly heavy, but I think they could last a little while if you do get caught in one. So Saturday looks like the drier day of the weekend. This weather front pushes eastwards through Saturday night into Sunday. So by Sunday morning, it's stranded across the country, and with quite light winds as well, it's likely to develop waves on it too, which could allow the rain to be quite heavy through Sunday, particularly across southern areas of England. We could start to see some heavy showers get mixed in with this frontal rain as well. So that's one to keep an eye on. I think it could be quite a damp day across more southeastern areas of England in particular. Still some dry weather around on Sunday, particularly across western areas, parts of West Wales, the southwest of England. Northern areas of the UK, I mean, some drier weather here and there, but temperatures are still going to be below average, 11 or 12 degrees, a little bit warmer than it has been, but not quite warm enough for many of us, I'm sure, but that trend is set to rise. Now, frost is something we've been talking about quite a lot over the past couple of weeks because we've had quite a lot of frost for this late in the spring. And we are going to see some more frost through the next few days. Now, this shows us the probability of temperatures being greater than 0 degrees. This is at 6 a.m. on Friday, and I'll show you the next few days as well. So where the chance is really low, the darker colours, that shows us where the temperatures are likely to be below 0, so where we're expecting an air frost. So you can see on Friday morning, We've got quite a widespread frost developing for many northern areas, parts of Wales. I think southern areas of England could also see a frost on Friday morning too. On Saturday, we're starting to see temperatures rising a little bit by Saturday morning, but again, it's set to be a chilly start for northern areas and parts of Wales. And then Sunday, that warming trend increases, so you can see it's mainly restricted to parts of Scotland, some rural areas of northern England too. However, we do have a little bit of uncertainty depending on where exactly that front's lying, that wave that develops on it. Well, that will have knock-on effects on exactly how much cloud there will be. So I think we could see some frosty weather to start the day across parts of central Wales, down into central England as well. And then Monday, well, there's a change into Monday morning of the next weather front pushing in. And as that weather front clears away to the east on Sunday night, well, we could see it linger a little bit, which would hold on to the cloud across the east. And then in the west, well, we could see a frost developing, but I think it's really only the far north where we're likely to see a frost. And then into next week, well, that risk continues to reduce. So those that have been worried about the frost risk, I think the risk isn't completely gone, but we're not going to see as many frosts into next week, which is much better than it has been lately. And as I mentioned, there's a change in the first part of next week. Those southwesterly winds move in. We've got Atlantic air moving in, as well as some weather fronts. There is some uncertainty in the exact timing of this weather front on Monday. The models are starting to make it move in earlier and earlier, so we could see that rain come in a little bit earlier on Monday than we are first expecting. But with those southwesterly winds, that will mean temperatures will be rising. Now, it's not going to start off particularly mild. You can see these are the temperatures compared to average for the time of year. And actually, temperatures are just going to average. We've been well below average all week. And so temperatures will be much closer to average. But with southwesterly winds and weather fronts moving in to the west, well, that also means there's going to be some rain around too, particularly across western areas. So it's actually looking like a wetter than average couple of days across western areas, parts of Wales, northwest England, Northern Ireland, western Scotland as well. Now, how does the trend change through the week? Well, I've hinted that high pressure's on its way, but how long is it going to take to move in? Well, that's the big question, really. I think by Tuesday, these are the most likely pressure patterns, and the most likely pressure pattern is pretty similar to Monday. I think low pressure's still going to be with us into Monday, with that wet weather continuing to push in to the west. By Wednesday, well, the most likely actually has got high pressure moving in from Scandinavia and the near continent. They kind of merge together and start to build up from the south, pushing that low pressure further west back out into the Atlantic. So that could move the wetter weather further away from the UK. So it could turn a little bit drier from Wednesday into next week across those western areas. But if we see some quite persistent rainfall through Monday and Tuesday next week, well, it could be quite wet. A wet couple of days for parts of southwestern Scotland, northwestern England in particular. Now, we've got two different model comparisons here. This is the Met Office model and this is the European model here. Now, both of them are highlighting that many western areas are likely to see quite a lot of rainfall over the 48-hour period of Monday and Tuesday next week. The Met Office model is going for quite a lot of rain, over 100 millimetres of rain over that 48-hour period. Now, that is not looking quite as likely as the European model at this stage, but it's something we're keeping an eye on. And I think it's just worth noting that it could be quite damp, really, for a couple of days. And it's really not been that wet so far this month. It was quite dry through April and May so far. We've only seen nearly just 20% of the average rainfall for the month, and we're nearly halfway through the month. So it has been a dry month so far, but it could be a wet couple of days for these western areas. Though both of these show still going to be pretty dry actually in the south and east. So I think with milder air coming in for more south and eastern areas of England, it's going to be a pretty fine start to the week with a bit more warmth and sunshine and dry weather around as well. And then there's a change into the into the latter part of next week. The start of next week, we've got westerly winds dominating, southwesterly at times. They could be quite strong. Temperatures much closer to average, where they have been much below them, and the rain focused in western areas. It does look quite dry though in eastern areas. So it's a gradual trend to higher temperatures into the start of next week. So we start the week with temperatures much closer to average, but by the end of next week and the start of the bank holiday weekend, temperatures could be above average, possibly in the low 20s for some areas. But as that is 10 days away, there are some details to work out. But why is that warming trend moving in? Well, that's because there's going to be a move from low pressure to high pressure dominating our weather. And you can see that here. Blues show low pressure dominating, and red and orange colours show high pressure dominating. And from the middle part of next week, that high pressure starts to win out. Now, there's a few different shades of orange and red here, showing there's a few different situations as to where that high pressure will be situated. And that does have knock-on effects as to what weather we can expect. Now, we're expecting to see a kind of Scandinavian high pressure in the east to start the week, and then it becomes more centred across the UK as we move into that bank holiday weekend. Now, whatever position that high pressure brings, well, all of them bring less cloud, a little bit more sunshine and lighter winds, which mean temperatures will be on the rise through next week. We start in a very below average position. As you can see, we've got Plymouth on the top here and Newcastle in the bottom. But if you look anywhere across the UK, there will be a similar trend. Now, temperatures slowly start to rise from the start of next week to around average for the time of year. So normal spring temperatures return from the start of next week. And then it's from the latter part of next week, from Thursday onwards, temperatures could rise above average, approaching 20 degrees for some areas across southern areas. We could be closer to the mid-20s, possibly for some areas in the southeast by the bank holiday weekend. But there is quite a big spread in these box and whiskers plots, as you can see, because there is a little bit of uncertainty. That's not unusual at these time leads. And that's brought by slight differences in the positions of the high pressure. So by the bank holiday Saturday, well, the high pressure could be situated quite centrally over the UK. And that would mean a lot of dry and sunny weather quite widely, particularly in western areas. We could see an easterly wind returning, which would bring more cloud to eastern areas and a cold feel too. But there's also a situation when that high pressure is situated more to the east of the UK, and so low pressure still approaches from the far west, which means places like the far southwest of England, northwestern Scotland could continue to see some wetter weather, perhaps some cooler weather too. So it's around the perimeters of that high pressure where we could see some slight differences, some wetter weather, some cooler, cloudier weather. I think more central areas of the UK are more likely to see that drier and warmer weather. But whatever position of that high pressure, I think, is likely to set in. It's quite a strong signal at this stage, and there is a strong signal for the trend of temperatures to rise above average, as they have been a little bit below average for a little bit too long now. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.